I'm sure some of you care more about that than reptile aliens, though I can't imagine why. Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I am Tina. Today I am doing a book review of Sliding Scales by Alan Dean Foster, which is a sci-fi space opera from 2004 by Del Rey. This was the second book I read for the Reindeer Readathon, getting me 20 points for Dancer, a book by a favorite author. And Alan Dean Foster, if you watch my channel, you know is one of my favorite authors. So, I don't know about this cover. It kind of sucks. Like, it's very, I guess it's cheap. I don't know. It's not the most compelling cover. It's kind of terrible. I mean, look at it. Look at that. Look at his face. Anyway, what is this book about? Okay, so first of all, if you don't know, this is number 10 in a series, and this is, the series is the Pip and Flinks series, and so there's Pip and there's Flinks on the cover. I have a whole bunch of their other ones. The first one in the series technically is, oh, where is it? I don't know where it went. The Tar Ang Krang or something like that. I can't pronounce it, but I've got a few other ones. I've also got a couple of the other ones. So anyway, this one's number 10. And the plot. Never have the cares of the universe lain so heavily on Flinks' shoulders, nor the forces against him seem so invincible. Pursued by a newly revealed sect of doomsday fanatics and hunted by factions inside and outside the Commonwealth, he is expected to single-handedly avert a looming galactic crisis or bear responsibility for the consequences. Flinks can be forgiven for feeling a slight touch of melancholy. Flinks is a whiner. Sorry. He's moody, I guess. He's not whiner. He is moody, and it's one thing I don't really like about him. According to the ship's AI, there's only one solution for what ails Flinks, a vacation. But with an increasing number of enemies chasing him with ever greater enthusiasm, Flinks must find a gateway shrouded in obscurity. It seems that Jast, a planet smack in the middle of nowhere, is perfect, but trouble can find Flinks anywhere. What he doesn't know is that his vacation paradise is a danger zone of the highest magnitude, and by the time he learns the truth, it may be too late. This doesn't actually tell you a lot about the plot. I probably should have just summarized it myself. I guess I could do that now and cut it out, but whatever. So Flinks gets to this planet called Jast, as I said, and the thing is, this planet has an indigenous species called the Visay, which is like these weird aliens that I'll explain later, and another colonizing force called the An, who are kind of the antagonists in a lot of Pip and Flinks' stories. Especially, I think they even show up in the first book, I'm pretty sure. And they're kind of like reptiloid, and Flinks has had some run-ins with them before. So that's kind of the tension in the novel, is that so the Commonwealth is like the kind of confederation of planets that like get along and have like their own kind of set of moral codes, that kind of stuff, and they have their own laws. And then the Imperials, which is what the Aeon consider themselves, they have their own kind of empire that's also colonizing planets, and so they clash with the Commonwealth. They're not at war, but they don't like one another. Anyway, that's the gist of this. Anyway, so I've always said the main reason I read Alan Dean Foster is because of his alien cultures. In fact, I first got hooked on him with Nor Crystal Tears, which is the coolest cover ever. I mean, come on, this cover's from like 20 years before or 30 years before this one. And it's way better. This is the first contact story between humans and these alien bugs called the Thranks, and obviously pictured there. And I love the way that Alan Dean Foster crafts psychological and cultural aspects based on aliens' biological traits. And so it's clear like certain ways that they act and certain ways that they react to things and how they think is tied to their biology in certain ways. It's interesting. Anyway, this book is no different. If you love his aliens, this is a great book for you, actually. Side note, Alan, if I may call him such, he's so nice. I emailed him a while back asking him to read my book. You know what it's called, but I'm going to show it again. It's Escaping First Contact, because he was actually a major inspiration in how I craft the aliens in my own book. He declined, stating poor eyesight that keeps him only working on his own stuff, and, which is fine. Even if it was a lie, it was such a nice way to turn me down that I asked him if I could mail him a copy, just because he's been such an inspiration to me. And he said yes! So now the Alan Dean Foster has a copy of my book, if he hasn't recycled it, and, life fucking goals met. So I can die now. I can die. Anyway, back to Sliding Scales. As I said, this is book 10 in the series, but I've skipped books like 5 to 9 because I don't have them, and they're hard to find at used bookstores. I could order them from Amazon, but I'm trying not to order so many books right now. And B, I really wanted to read the one that focused on the On because, yeah. So in the book, as I said, there's the two main aliens, the On and then these Vasi or Vasai or Vasi. I don't know how you say them. The latter is the type of alien that is like super weird. So they have this tube-like. So they're like these tube-like sapient beings or sentient beings with tentacles and eye stalks who reproduce via some sort of spores or seeds, and they just kind of like hop around. They sound actually quite cute. And the On, as I've said, are reptilian. They're definitely more humanoid. You know, they're lizard aliens. You know, my favorite. But so much about their culture and their biology is provided in the book that it's like a xenoanthropologist's dream. We learn about like how they bathe, how they mourn their dead, how they have sex, everything. It's awesome. In fact, I could have had far less of the side plot and way more about the On. As I said, you know, they're my favorite species in this entire universe, even more so than the Thranks. So, yeah, I mean, the Thranks themselves are fascinating because of the same thing. You know, he's crafted this believable and realistic alien species. But the On are just so freaking cool. You know, the way they emote using hand gestures, how their tail functions in most of their actions, how they act enough like humans for us to understand them, but they still are very, very alien. Another great one with the On is De Eternity's Dawn, which is the third book in the Founding the Common trilogy. So it's like a prequel to this stuff. It's set it has way more humans in it stuff too, but it's really, I really like it. Anyway, I've talked about it before, I think. In terms of plot, since I'm sure some of you care more about that than reptile aliens, though I can't imagine why, it's definitely not a thriller, but it has some stuff that you're kind of like, okay, move it on. But it has enough surprises to keep you interested. There were a few things that wrapped up entirely too easily, though, and a section that seemed to be important but ended up not contributing anything to the plot. But overall, I found it moved at a pretty good pace, and it does feature an amnesia plot, but I mean, this is book 10 in the series. You gotta do something, right? And it was handled in a way that wasn't eye-rolling or silly. It was kind of like, okay, I understand why they did it this way. It was more of just a vehicle to learn more about the On culture, and I'm totally on board for that, so yeah. Flinks, as I said, is his usual moody self, but less so in this novel because he has amnesia, which is a nice break for me because he's kind of a downer at times. Pip doesn't do much. That's the little dragon lizard that he has on his shoulder, and Pip is like my favorite. She's so cute. But the star of the novel is the villain Takuna. So he's unlikable from the start, and then he ends up being like a terrible, terrible guy. Yet it grows more and more clear throughout the book that, unlike what we know of the On from previous iterations in the book, he's an exception in his species when it comes to ambition and paranoia. Contrasting with his deviousness is not only some of these artisan ants, which is like kind of the plot of this, but a few other On who work with Takuna who come across as perfectly normal, in that they're not ready to like murder somebody for no reason. I thought it was really clever how we only really see Takuna at the start in terms of the On and are led to believe that all On are like him, but we gradually learn he's the worst possible example of one. So I thought that was really cool. So tied to that, the novel really is an interesting exploration into the difference between culture and biology, and how no matter anyone's differences, they can learn to care about those from not only other cultures, but other species as well, which is definitely a theme that I can get behind, since it's basically the theme of, again, escaping first contact. But I honestly didn't expect that from Sliding Scales. I thought, I didn't know what to expect. But anyway, I really liked it. I mean, it's not a 5-star read. I would give it a 4, but that's because I'm really into learning about alien cultures. So, for me, if it was like marketed as a non-fiction about different aliens, I would read it and give it a 5 stars. So I really liked it. I think some people would find it maybe a bit boring, but that's fine. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know if you've read any of the Pip and Flinks books and which book is your favorite. I will say that of all of them, this one's probably my favorite, but I really liked the first one. I really liked this one because we learn a really cool thing about Pip. There's also a really weird alien. Look at that weird alien. Like, that's the kind of weird aliens you'll find in these books. But anyway, I'd say Sliding Scale is definitely my favorite. And then End of the Matter. I will admit, I also haven't read the other ones after Flinks in Flux, because see that woman at the bottom? Her name's Claire. Jeez, I can't zoom in at all on this thing. Her name's Clarity, and she's annoying. I can't stand her, mainly because she doesn't do anything. She just kind of literally does nothing. So I have been reluctant to read any of the other books where she's featured because Flinks loves her, even though she has no personality. But that's okay. He's moody, so maybe it works for him. So, anyway, let me know what Pip and Flinks books are your favorite if you have one. And if you haven't read the series, I highly recommend starting at the beginning because it does follow a continuous plot. So, if you can get a hold of the Tar and Krang or whatever it's called, oh, it's probably up there somewhere. Do so. Thanks.